Story 1. ML setting up baby room in her home. Of all the things my MIL has done, this is absolutely a complete nothing burger, but it's been occupying space in my brain. I just want to rant. Why do these MILs decide to set up a dedicated nursery for the baby in their home? Especially when the parents have communicated the baby won't visit much or be left alone with them. I'm currently 8 months pregnant. We live about 3 hours away from the in-laws, so we're not going to be there a lot when the baby comes. We only visit 1-2x per year, as is soon to be 0 if my pregnancy hormones get their way. We're not close with them either, as they have serious respect and boundary issues. ML even acknowledged that we won't be visiting much in a text she sent to me that said, "I know the baby won't be here much, but I want a baby room." ML and FIL have drywalled and painted an extra room and spent a lot of money, and I do mean a lot, decking out the room with baby gear and furniture. They're painting their nursery blue because MIL firmly believes we're having a boy. She had a dream years ago that we would have a boy. We're having a girl. Her reaction to this news was that the doctors are wrong and that we were challenging Jesus by having the genetic test done. Okay, whatever. Obviously, it's her house, her money, and her time she's putting into setting up a nursery that will not be used, and I haven't commented on it to her. It's her choice what she's going to do in her home. She's just been so obsessed about the baby, and she's already a pretty annoying and wildly rude/inconsiderate person, that it's just living in my thoughts rent-free. A couple of months ago, ML offered to send us $5,000 to set up our nursery. However, our nursery was already mostly set up, and I have learned from experience that the money she offers is a trap and a means of control. I said we didn't need the money for that purpose and asked if she would be willing to put the money instead in the 529/college fund DH and I had set up. ML was super offended that we turned down the nursery offer and said she wouldn't contribute to the college fund because she doesn't want grandbaby to go to college and get turned away from God and turn out liberal like me. ML is currently on a timeout from us due to actual serious baby-related comments/behavior. But she felt the need to send a video a couple of days ago showing us her baby room, and it just made my blood boil and made me feel like a very spicy honey badger. That's all. Ran over. Comment 1. Sorry, Opie. This sucks. You might want to read up on the concept of the fawning response. Link gives a brief overview. There's lots more information available. Your reaction was adaptive given the circumstances. You felt threatened and off-kilter, and reacted in the safest way you knew how, to avoid further conflict. That doesn't at all mean that it was wrong, but the fact that you feel uncomfortable is what I've heard described as cognitive dissonance. Intellectually, you know that you want to react a certain way, and you know you're worth standing up for. But your immediate emotional response is to shut down and people please, even though it makes you feel shitty about yourself. Firstly, I want you to know that this is super common in people who have trauma related to people bossing them around or coercing their behavior. Secondly, you need to try to remember that everyone, from you to the wisest, most together person you know of, can only ever do the best that they can with the tools and resources available to them at the time. It categorically does not mean you are weak or worthless. It means you're human. Setting boundaries and asserting yourself in uncomfortable situations are 2 skills that require practice. Some people have an easier time with it than others because they haven't been exposed to narcissistic behavior from others that was intended to tear them down. This could have been anyone in your past, but it's likely that it's a close family member, most of the time. In the same way that you wouldn't expect someone who is obese to be able to run a marathon with no training and conditioning, you can't expect someone who has been bullied and derided for having normal emotional reactions to suddenly become queen of boundaries. It is a process that requires self-reflection, intellectual inquiry to find the root causes, emotional work to reaffirm to yourself that you're intrinsically worth being treated properly, and then practice, which necessarily involves the occasional failure, disappointment, tweaking of approaches, and trying again. It's easy enough for me to sit here and tell you this. You have to absorb it, feel it, and believe it. But I promise you that you can do that work, and that you can be successful. It won't be overnight, but it will come. You're absolutely worth the effort, and I wish you every success as you go through the process. Sending you gentle long-distance hugs if you want some. Comment 2. Next time, You stay in your room and call your husband and have him call them off. Don't leave your room, don't go to the door, and don't engage at all. You block her number now that she has yours. You don't have to be embarrassed. We have all been there. It's why so many of us cheer for the ladies who put their ML in their place. Sometimes we are just doing the best we can, and today that was what you were doing. Tomorrow is a new day to do better. You've got this. Comment 3. She cannot get to you if you don't open the door. Blank ignore her. If she hears the baby cry and knows you're ignoring her, even better, maybe she'll take the hint without you having to say a word. Blank ignore her. She's playing on the fact that you're overly nice. Comment 4. I saw an old tip that says to answer your door in your coat so you can pretend you were just leaving with unwanted company if you were set on facing her terrorizing you head on. It could be a tactic you use to shorten the visit or control the time. Like if we were just heading out the door for an appointment, sorry can't chat, gets you out of that situation in a pinch. You are very strong and brave and summoned courage that some of us lack. I know for me because I can't bear to face that woman ever again. Blows my mind such a goblin is the origin of my partner. You faced the dragon, and while you may not feel like you won, you also faced it. Comment 5. I agree, it's her house and her money. She can build whatever she wants. My Emil was like that with the infant car seat. I didn't even give birth yet when she wanted to buy a seat to drive the baby around. You know, for when the baby will be at their house. I was very blunt in replying that I don't see a logical scenario when the baby would be at their house alone, without us and without our car seat. I mean, how would he even get there, alone on foot? She can of course buy whatever she wants, but to me, that's just not a smart purchase. She ended up not buying it, and the conversation also established some clear boundaries. This is my baby, he will be with me, we will visit you together. Don't expect a shared custody. Comment 6. We're having a girl. Her reaction to this news was that the doctors are wrong and that we were challenging Jesus by having the genetic test done, and doesn't want grandbaby to go to college and get turned away from God. Okawaye. Time to back away slowly. Don't make any loud noises. Don't let the cuckoo clock anywhere near your child. Comment 7. It would be funny if you sent her a text saying, "Oh my goodness, you're pregnant." Well, of course you have to be pregnant because you're not silly enough to waste thousands of dollars on a room that you know our baby will never use. I can't wait to tell the rest of the family that you're pregnant. Story 2. My ML thinks I'm an awful mother. She has no right to say things like that when she hasn't been a perfect mom herself. Here's what she's been telling my boyfriend. If the kid doesn't want to eat meat/eggs/fish, it's because her mother has been feeding her too many vegetables. For context, I make sure my 2-year-old daughter gets a balanced diet with a variety of foods, carbs, veggies, legumes, meat, and everything else she needs. Right now, she's going through one of those terrible twos phases, so she's rejecting a lot of foods. I always try to serve something different every day, but her grandmother keeps cooking the same few things: meat with fried or boiled potatoes, sausages, chicken with rice, macaroni with cheese and tomato. Don't get me wrong, I like those meals, but I don't think it's healthy to have the same thing every day. Plus, she uses a lot of additives and salt, while I'm trying to keep things balanced. My boyfriend agrees with me, but says my food is too bland. Yeah, he's definitely a mama's boy. She's playing weird music. For the record, I love music and enjoy listening to some more unique genres like vaporwave, krautrock, and doom jazz. But when my mother-in-law says weird music, she's talking about classical music or songs in other languages. Like, seriously, she's letting her watch disturbing stuff on TV. Okay, she might have a point here. I admit we've started watching some old silly symphonies and a few scenes from The Nightmare Before Christmas. She loves the "What's This?" song. But she's also talking about things like animal documentaries, dance performances, touring vlogs, and yes, Bluey. Meanwhile, she and her husband let their kid watch Paw Patrol, Tom and Jerry, and other cartoons that I don't think are appropriate for kids that young. My daughter has even gotten a bit more aggressive with our cats lately, and I can't help but wonder if it's influenced by those shows. She's also been critical of the clothes my daughter has, constantly filling her wardrobe with pink, flashy things, with rhinestones and sequins that my daughter hates, and sweaters that look like ones she herself wears. Her son even said, "That's too much pink, like that would make any difference." Spoiler, it didn't. I like to take my daughter shopping and let her choose what she wants to wear. If she picks a boy's t-shirt or a princess dress, that's fine. What matters is that she's happy, right? She's also not a fan of how many books my daughter has, or how much she loves to read. Once, my father-in-law even said, "We don't need books in our house. They take up space and collect dust." And she doesn't like that my daughter has books in multiple languages, some of which were mine from when my family traveled. Yes, my daughter has a lot of books, but is that really a bad thing? She has her 3 favorites, and the rest will be there when she's older. Comment 1. Go up to him at work and say, "Hey, can you delete that video you made about me? The one where you printed a picture of my face and put it on a cake. It's really weird." Comment 2. This would make me uncomfortable too. I feel like he posted this knowing you'd see it and hoping you'd respond positively to it. Either way, it's awkward, and I'm sorry you're in this position. I'm cringing for you. I think the fastest way to get it taken down would be to talk to him about not being comfortable with your photo on a public video. If he apologizes and takes it down, I'd say you may not need to escalate. If you have a decent relationship with your manager, it may not hurt to ask to shift your schedule around to avoid him too. Good luck, Opie. Comment 3. Young people are so weird these days. Comment 4. You don't have to be nice to creepy, inappropriate men, nor do you have to care about his feelings. Tell him you want the video removed, and from now on be civil and polite to him, but you don't have to be kind, friendly, or nice in the future. Comment 5. What insanity to think a child eats too many vegetables and reads too much. Comment 6. I read your rant and I understand you. Been in your shoes. There's something about your well-roundedness, literacy, and open-mindedness that makes her feel a certain way about herself. My ex-MIL talked shit on me for using placemats once. She said I was trying to be too fancy. This isn't about you. It's about her. Your choices make her feel like her parenting was not enough. She's insecure. Comment 7. Not too many vegetables. And reading. Blasphemy. LOL. Comment 8. I can't tell from reading this if your mama's boyfriend is just repeating these nonsense things or if he actually believes them too. Either way, this MIL is taking up too much of your headspace. Just focus on raising your child because it sounds like you're doing great. Personally, I wouldn't have let my toddler eat salty additive-riddled food at all, and it could well be causing her fussiness. One for you to think about and decide what's best for your child. Story 3. The MIL strikes back. Hello again. I'm back to share some more things my MIL has said regarding my maternity. I really appreciated all the feedback you gave on my previous post. Here's what's been going on. You and my husband need to spend less time with her, my daughter, because she only wants to be with you. When she and her husband are with my child, it's only he who plays with her while she either spies on her phone or cleans our house. She has some kind of OCD and has cameras installed at her place due to her diabetes. She's even told me that my daughter once said, "I want grandpa because you work all the time." But instead of taking that as a sign to change, she just continues to wallow in her self-pity. You have to control her, or you'll regret it when she becomes a teenager. I teach my daughter through respect and always apologize when I make mistakes. We talk a lot, and she listens to me, usually without issue. She helps with chores, closes doors when asked, and generally follows instructions. I also believe in transparency and can't stand lies. She's like a parrot, she doesn't even shut up underwater. My daughter started speaking when she was 14 months old, and now she can have full conversations. She loves reading and can read a book out loud. My MIL makes these comments constantly, and although my boyfriend brushes it off, saying it's just her way of joking, it still hurts me every time I hear it. You have to punish her if she bites you again, or she'll bite kids at school. I hate the way she lectures me about raising my daughter, as if I'm doing nothing. Of course, I've punished her. When she bites, I tell her firmly that I don't like it, look her in the eye, and send her to her room for a timeout. I know I'm not a perfect mom, but I'm doing my best, and as Winnicott said, I'm good enough. She and my FIL are always forcing my child to give them kisses or do things she doesn't want to do. And they seem to think that the way my daughter behaves is somehow my fault. When I try to explain toddler milestones to them, they just roll their eyes and dismiss it as modern quackery. And my boyfriend? As usual, he defends me but still agrees with his parents. He thinks I'm sometimes too radical. You need to behave like a lady. That's not very ladylike. She loves to paint her face now, and when she's older, she'll ask you for tons of makeup. Here's the thing, she's the one who uses makeup, not me. I'd like to use some, but my lifestyle just doesn't really allow for it. What bothers me about these comments, though, is the underlying sexism. Since my daughter was born, my ML has been buying her dolls and toys related to housework and pushing her to play pretend with babies. Don't get me wrong, I think it's okay for her to play like that. But my ML isn't exactly the right person to teach her these things, especially since she tells my daughter to say, "Shut up," in a soft voice when the pretend baby cries. The only milk she should drink is from cows. My ML hates breastfeeding because she couldn't do it with her own children due to some traumatic experiences, and she's been trying to sabotage it since the beginning. When I went back to work when my daughter was 6 months old, I was lucky that my job was part-time and only 5 minutes away. But despite that, Emile insisted that my daughter should be drinking powdered milk. Turns out she's lactose intolerant, like the rest of us. The pediatrician recommended goat milk, which she can tolerate, but Emile still insists that she's old enough for lactose-free cow's milk. Fortunately, we've agreed that she drinks goat milk at my house and cow's milk at hers, though she doesn't spend much time there. And through all of this, my boyfriend still seems to side with his parents more than me. He even joined in their anti-book campaign, claiming that reading too many books would make my daughter antisocial. At this point, I've started filing for separation and nearly full custody of my child. Comment 1. I hate to break it to you, but it sounds like he's straight up stupid. Comment 2. I'm so tired of reading posts about grown men who can't function in society without a woman to do it all for them. Homeboy can't read a menu? Comment 3. There are 3 very different issues. First, not understanding what he is ordering. Second, not being flexible to adjust when what he imagined would happen didn't. Third is incredibly poor behavior towards staff. The best answer? Don't go to dinner with him. Comment 4. He does this on purpose. He loves making a scene. He loves embarrassing people. He loves how it makes you feel. I would probably go ask him why he does what he does. But I honestly wouldn't expect an actual answer. This behavior is probably the tip of the iceberg. Can you be happy with such a guy? Comment 5. He throws tantrums in restaurants as if he were an actual toddler. It's not your job to teach him basic manners. He's practically 30 years old. This is breakup worthy, but if you aren't there yet, consider completely and utterly ignoring these pout fests. You're not his mommy and he's perfectly capable of behaving himself. He's just choosing not to. Likely because the extra attention it awards him is something he's addicted to. If he escalates the tantrum, pay your part of the bill and leave him there to poop his diaper all by himself. Comment 6. Too much book reading is bad for toddlers? That's breathtakingly bad parenting. I hope you get custody. Comment 7. Anyone who thinks reading books to a child, or having a child read them back, is bad is not someone who should raise children. Reading is how we learn things. Right? We could argue that having too many books could be hazardous. Reading too many as a toddler? That's not a thing. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.